This is Life Happens. Thank you for listening. Tell me a time when you feel loved.
Oh, shoot. You already know. Every moment when I'm with my wife. But there's so many moments where I felt loved.
Yeah.
You know, starting when I was a little kid. Loved by my parents and the people that took care of me, my nannies. They grew up with me. They raised me. Because my mom was like a flight stewardess. So she was traveling a lot. And my dad was a pastor full-time in Kuwait during that time. So he'd be out all the time ministering to people. So I'd have nannies. They raised me. They're like my second moms. And I was loved by them. They always like reassured me and comforted me when I was crying. That's the kind of love that I've experienced. But there's also like when I was in Vancouver, where I experienced my first crush. And you know, you get that feeling in your chest where you're nervous but excited.
Yeah.
You're scared but happy at the same time.
Like your heart's want to jump out.
Yeah, exactly. Butterflies in the stomach, you know? And it was all lovey-dovey feeling from there until I was like, we were playing tag during lunch hour.
With your crush?
Yeah, with my crush. And someone was it, and we were hiding and running away from him. And we were like just standing still. And I was like, hey, do you like me? And then she looked me straight in the eyes and said no and ran away. And then I was like, oh, shoot. Well, there goes my moment of love. But somewhere more closer to the day when I was in senior year of high school, and I spent some time with my wife, Raisa, who I was like only in the talking phase then. There was like this day during Canada Day where we were just walking around, getting to know each other and talking and just catching up on days that we missed out on talking with each other with. Because I've met her in middle school. So I've actually known her for a little while. And then we just never talked to each other or never saw each other again. And I was like, oh, so what have you been up to? What have you been doing? Back and forth. And then the night started coming and it was getting a little chilly. So I gave her my jacket.
Like a gentleman.
Yeah, exactly. And when I saw her in my jacket, I was like, oh, shoot. She's so pretty. Oh my gosh. She looks so good. And I just loved spending time with her. It was so nice. And the moments that I've had with her were unlike any that I've had before with anyone. That was a moment of love for me that night. And there was this one, especially like this one moment where we were walking through like, you know, Bud Miller Park, right?
Yes.
And then there's like the walk path that people take, but you can also go into the trees and go off the path. We were going through the trees. Her footing was a little weird. So I held out and reached her hand and held on to it. But like not like webbed, fingers crossed kind of hold, but like
Just like that. Yeah.
just like that, helping her, guiding her through. But it was such a wholesome moment, bro. Like it felt so sweet. I thought that was a moment of pure love that wasn't even just romantic. It was just two people wanting to go through the forest together, holding each other's hands because they want to get through it together.
But during that phase, that was the talking phase still.
That
right?
was only the talking phase. We weren't even dating yet.
Right.
But we were like, I was thinking about her and she was thinking about me. So it was like a mutual understanding that was unspoken.
Yes.
But oh man, like my wife and I, when we were going out of the talking phase, like I feel bad about it, because like the day I confessed to her was on my 18th birthday, right? And you know, I'm 18, I can drink now, and so my cousin came over and he brought his Nintendo Switch and we were playing Mario Party. And we were drinking 7 bottles of hard alcohol. There was like Jaegers, there was gin, there was vodka. We were going through it. And it was like, every time you lose a challenge, you take 2. Every time we tie, we both take 1. And we finished all the bottles within like 2 hours.
That's hard.
That's hard. And then, oh, jeez, man. And that night, I called her drunk. telling her how much I want to be the right man for her and how I want to treat her right. And she's like, what? Are you serious? Are you joking? And I'm on the phone like, I'm super serious. Drunkenly. But honestly, though, I was serious. Yeah. I really did mean every word. And she's like, oh, man, I love how patient she is. She's like, how about we talk about this when you're sober? I'm okay, I'll get sober. I want to treat you right. And then I got sober. I was like, there's no way this really happened. I looked at our text and phone call. Oh my gosh, it really happened. And we set up a day where I'd go over to her place and tell her my feelings. And then I told her. And then we go upstairs to her parents and I tell them that I want to properly like treat her right and I want her to be my girlfriend. And they looked at me like, we thought you were already dating. I'm like, what? I was only in talking or like in our culture we court people.
Okay.
The guy will court the lady and actually earn her family's favor.
Oh.
So I was going over there and bringing food and gifts for them. I would always drop her off home. I'd always pick her up. I'd always text her family first before we go out. Well, I messed up telling the family first before picking her up. So they didn't like me about that first of all.
Wait, that was a serious thing?
That's a serious thing. It's a serious thing. It's a traditional thing that we do back home. And some people actually still do it and actually really appreciate it. Especially the girls, because it's like this person is willing to do this and do things properly. And even me, myself, I thought it was great because it's like, I can do this the right way because there is a right way.
Yes.
And I was like, okay, I'm going to follow that. And then they're like, wait, we thought you were already dating. And I was like, no. I want to date her, but does that mean I can date her? And they're like, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, that's sweet. And that night when we just officially became official, I told her I love you. And
that day,
that same day where I got permission to date her, I told her I love you. And that was that feeling, that moment of love was unmatched because I hugged her so tight.
Oh, yeah.
We were spinning around on the sidewalk beside my junky 2008 Grand Caravan. And I was happy. I felt so loved by her, and I felt so in love with her at the same time. Wow. And then fast forward from then, I proposed to her November 21st. Tomorrow is our anniversary for engagement, our engagement anniversary. And I'm super excited. Our first year after I proposed. That's so cool.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
What a big day.
It's such an exciting day. And then after that, a couple months after is going to be our anniversary, our kind of wedding anniversary. And that is super exciting because that's going to also be our first year being married.
So the day that you told that you love her, did that take you a lot of encouragement? And did you just like go in blind or like you had to prepare the speech? Hey, babe, I love you and stuff. Or you just like went in and...
Yeah, I was never really one to plan. So whenever I felt like I want to say it, I told her.
Yeah.
So, of course, I was so nervous. The time it took for me to think about saying to her, I love you, and actually saying it to her, it was probably only like 2 seconds, but it felt like days in my head because time stopped and all I could see was her. And I was like, I want to say this. Should I say this? All the anxiety was kicking in. And I was like, screw it. I want to say it because I mean it. I love you.
How does she respond to you?
What?
Oh, wow.
Really? Do you love me? I'm like, yes. But she meant that because I'm her first boyfriend. And so she doesn't know like if I mean it. But I do. And she's like, I love you too. But she was awkward about it. She was awkward because she said it back. So I felt real proud. But she was like awkward. And I could tell it was awkward. And then I felt awkward.
Yeah.
But it was like a cute kind of
Right,
awkward.
yeah.
And even she agrees it was a cute kind of awkward.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be awkward when
It's-
you say
yeah,
that.
it's supposed to be.
It's supposed to be like
It's
that.
supposed to be like that.
Yeah.
We're teenagers, like, and we're young, and we're like each other's first official boyfriend girlfriend. Like,
Yeah.
of course, it's gonna be awkward when one of
Exactly.
us says it first.
But look at you, Evie, from the first day you told your first crush that you had to run away. And
Yeah.
I say to her, wow.
My first actual official girlfriend, I told her I love you, and she didn't run away.
Yup.
Thank goodness. She
She
hugged
even
me.
said it back. Oh, yeah.
She even said it back.
Yes.
Like, wow.
Even better. Come on.
Even way better.
So through all the moments in your life, through all the loved and scared and hated moments, what is love
What is love to me?
to you? Yes, sir.
Well, that's a very interesting thing. So, in my belief, there is different types of love. Even in like the Greek translation, there's like phileo, agape, eros. There's different kinds of love. There's the familial love, the love that you have for family, the love of your fellow like man, human person, the love of the people around you. There's the erotic love, the sexual love, and then there's the romantic love. There's so many different kinds. And then there's the one love that is agape, the type of love that is perfect, a godly form of love. And when I was young, I was raised in the idea that humanity is not perfect. No one is ever perfect. But the one thing that we can be perfect in is love. That's the only thing that we can ever be perfect in. And that's something that I strive for. And what is love? There's a verse in the Bible. I forget what it was. I feel like a lot of Christians are going to hate me for that because I don't even remember like the verse, but it goes through things like love is kind, love is patient, love is slow to anger, and that description, that verse that describes love, describes it as agape, the perfect form of love. And coupled with the idea that I've been raised with, that the only thing we can ever be perfect in is love, I think love is perfection, true perfection that we can experience and display to others. That's what I think love is. You can be the one that shows perfect love to the world and everyone, and you can also find people that displays that same level of perfect love back to you.
Wow.
And it's real. I've experienced it, and I hope you've experienced it with me.
Yes. Totally.
I hope so.
Yeah. Definitely.
Awesome.
If today was your last day to live, what would you do?
Oh man, if it was my last day to live,
You have a whole new day.
whole new day. Like
Yeah.
tomorrow is my
Yeah.
last day till midnight. I
Well,
die.
yes.
That kind of thing,
Let's just say
okay.
that.
It's weird. I'd actually want to just relax.
Mhm.
I'll not go to work. I won't even call them. I won't even phone them. I'll just, because I'm gonna die anyways.
Right.
I don't want to waste my time being like, I'm sorry. I don't want to. Like, no, I'm not gonna do that. I know I'm gonna die. I want to relax. I want to take my wife out and spend the entire day with her.
Mhm.
I'll use all of the money in my checking account, and I'll spend all that money and all my time with her, just her, no one else.
What does that day look like? What you gonna do?
I'd want to have breakfast with her.
Yeah.
I want to go out to Dairy Queen, one of the first places we went to when we started talking, Dairy Queen, and just enjoy a meal for breakfast. And then for lunch, I want to go to Edmonton and go to La Bosco. It's one of her favorite cafes, and they serve amazing turkey sandwiches. And I want to go there, spend lunch with her, and talk about our time living in Edmonton as boyfriend and girlfriend, and talking about how I got engaged to her in my small, tiny apartment. And then talking about how we're planning the wedding and making the announcement. And then after lunch, I'd want to come back home and go to Denny's, where we sort of had our first real date, and talk to her about our entire relationship and how I've enjoyed every single day that we've been together, even on the bad days where she was mad at me or I was mad at her. I wouldn't want to change any of it for the world. And then when I laid down, because I just go to bed and sleep, act like it was a regular night. When I go lay down and close my eyes, I want to hold on to her and tell her the exact same thing that we tell each other every night. And it would be, good night, my love. Sleep tight. And then she'd say, don't let the bed bugs bite. And then I'd say, I love you with the love of the Lord. And then she'd say the same back. And then I'd say, sweet dreams, my love. And she'd say the same back to me. And then I'd kiss her. And we'd fall asleep in each other's arms. And I think that would be the perfect way for me to end my last day. If I'd known that's when I'd die. It's romantic to me. And to treat that day as not a big event, but just another day a little more special, because it's a day spent with the one person that I love most in this entire world. That's how I'd want to go out.
That was the best thing I heard today.
Oh,
This
thanks,
week.
man.
You are such a loving, caring person, Maybe.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Walang anuman. Did you know that?
Well, I'm gonna man. Yeah.
What
No
does that
problem.
mean?
It's no problem.
Okay,
It's you're welcome. Yeah.
that's good.
At least I know that.
Where do we go when we die?
We go either to heaven or hell. And when I was like a little bit younger, I played around with the idea of, well, maybe there's a purgatory, or maybe we're reincarnated. I used to think that because I thought it was cool.
Yeah.
I'd like to come back to life as maybe a new person or a creature. My favorite animal in the world is the turtle, and I wouldn't mind being a turtle. Or if there was purgatory, or if I became a ghost, I'd be a funny ghost.
Funny ghost.
Yeah, or
Funny
I'd be the kind of ghost that, like, say if I haunted a house and some new people bought it and live in it,
Yeah.
I'd help with their chores. I'd be like cooking food for them or doing the laundry, or like if someone decides to egg their house for Halloween, I'd spook the kids for them. And I'd be like Casper, but as a
Cool.
roommate. I'd be so
Okay.
cool. But when I grew up and I became more strong into my own beliefs and my belief in God, I was like, that's not going to happen. When we die, we will be judged. We will see judgment, and we will look back on everything we've done in our lives. And maybe God will ask me, what did you do in your life? Or maybe I'll even just ask myself in front of him, what did I do in my life? And no matter what I say or what I believe, it's not my choice about, it's not my decision about where I go, up or down. It's his.
Well, let's say if you meet him
Yeah.
at your final destination, well, kind of final, but not final.
Yeah.
What do you hope that you would say to him?
I hope I will say to him,
Yeah.
dang,
What was that achievement of that thing in your
Yeah.
life that you want to tell him?
I want to tell
I
him.
did that.
Oh, okay. If it's like, well, the first thing I'd actually say to him would be like, so you're real
Definitely.
and I made it.
Yeah.
So I'm right. That's cool. But one thing that I guess I'd want to tell God as an achievement, like, this is my greatest achievement and you saw it, but I want to tell it to you face to face now that I see you. It would be that I finally made the decision to break out of the mold of what my family wanted. Because when I was younger in my faith, I was also under the idea of I don't want to mess it up, right? I want to follow my parents. I want to do what they want me to do. I will be a good kid. So I'm going to be a Christian because they want me to be a Christian. And that's such a false belief. Like you're faking it. That's not real. But then when I decided, like, throughout college that started like opening my mind to the idea of being myself. And as I let go of things that aren't me and I started becoming more in tune with my inner self, I'm so happy that God was still real and I was still really believing him. And when I decided to become a photographer and really let go of a lot of things in my life that I thought weren't real to me, I still held on to my faith. And I still believed you are real. You love me. You watch over me. All the bad things are for good, and all the good things are thanks to you. And that's when I was like, that's a real achievement, because that was the epiphany of I will really lay down my life to God because he is real. Not because my parents told me he's real, but because I believe it myself and I know it myself within my heart. This is real. And if I'm wrong, then I'll be wrong. But if I'm right, then that's fantastic. Right or wrong, it's still an amazing experience. And that held on to me really, really well. And that was a great achievement that I'd love to tell God face to face.
Evie, thank you so much for what you shared. I really appreciate that.
Oh,
Every
thank
single
you.
seconds of it.
Aw.
I loved it. I'm that's by aspect. I really appreciate what
Awesome.
you shared.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here. I really like it. This is an awesome thing. I really got to open up about myself in a way that I don't normally do. And I feel great.
I feel great.
Yeah. I feel lighter in a good way. It's awesome. Thank you.